zurück hier mit Trent Reznor von Nine Inch Nails und jetzt geht es nochmal so ein paar Dinge, die wir vorher angesprochen haben. Mir ist aufgefallen, dass jede Platte so einen anderen Bezugspunkt hatte. So am Ende des Tages fühlte man sich nach jeder Nine Inch Nails Platte anders als bei einer, die man zuvor gehört hatte, wenn Sie wissen, was ich meine. One thing that I've noticed, I might be totally wrong, but I had the impression that every Nine Inch Nails record had a different focus at the end of the day. I felt different when I listened to Pretty Hate Machine, and I felt completely different when I listened to the Downward Spiral. And it's again different when I listen to the Fragile. Is that just a coincidence, or do you feel the same way?
I do. I mean, when I sit down and it's time to start a record, the main challenge I present to myself is to be completely honest with where my brain is at the time I'm doing it and how I feel honestly about things. And the thing I found that was tricky was, like when I did Pretty Hate Machine, there were no expectations other than my own. So I didn't judge anything about what I thought others might think. And when I did Downward Spiral, I had a small degree of success, so I was wondering, the people that got me here, what do you think they'll think of what I'm doing right now? And I realized then that's a trap that artistically I don't want to fall into. I've taken pride in feeling that I sleep well at night knowing that I've done what I think is very true to how I feel, and it's the most honest way I can express myself at the time. But it does get trickier when you have now expectations and you have people that got you to where you are. And when you hear, like I did before I even started this record, and when I was in a very delicate state, when I wasn't ready to start it, and I'm hearing that it's the most anticipated record of a year before I ever even, I knew I wouldn't be done because I haven't started it yet. And I hear, please come save rock. It's like, I didn't ask to do that. And I don't really like rock, and I don't know. It's hard to have the discipline mentally to not pay attention to those thoughts, because they all, I think, make you cater your music to something that isn't true. So when I really started on this, I think it helped. I live in New Orleans. I've lived a life of recluse the last 2 years, and this record took 2 years to make. And it was 2 years of sleeping 4 hours a night and working 18-hour days every day to really mine what was in my subconscious and go with what I really felt was my best instinct of what was right and what mattered to me. And I based that on I'm a fan of music. I love music, and I was the guy that was buying vinyl, reading what was written on the inside, and smelling the way that, you know, the whole thing, that all mattered to me. So I've always tried to apply that to what I do. And when we finished this record, I really wondered if the fans that got me to be able to make this record, what they'd think of it. You know, I did question that, but I allowed the real questioning to happen after it was done, and hope that it was trusting my own instinct that got me this far. And I thought that's what I have to put all my faith in. And now the record's done, and it's out, and I've had positive feedback, but even if I didn't, I personally believe this is like the best thing I have ever done, and I'm surprised I finished it. You know,
Wir sind gleich wieder zurück. Was es jetzt hier gibt, ist der neue Clip von Nine Inch Nails. We're in this together. So a new video is coming up in the show. Black and White. Who shot it? Who's the director?
Mark Pellington was the director. And kind of the idea was, when I wrote that song, which was one of the last songs for the record, I liked the obviousness of the track, but I was fearful of the obviousness of the track. And in a record that I think is pretty dense and somewhat challenging to get through, I didn't want to have a song that was too obviously the hit single kind of thing. So we had a real hard time. Of all the tracks on that album, That's probably the hardest song we musically had to arrange and mix, because it was, if it was mixed poorly, it sounded too obvious in the context of the record. And at this point, we were very aware of the context of the record. So what I learned through the process of doing that was the vocal track I would have thrown out that was out of tune and my voice was breaking up was the one I needed to use, because it added a desperation that made the whole mood of the song feel right. When it came time to do a video for it, I tried to make the song uglier than it would have been if you just heard it. And the idea of a tragedy or some situation when it's going too fast that you're not aware of where you're at until it's too late, and you might be caught up in something that you're not sure is, but you're blindly embracing this comfort of security that are you sure that's the right thing? That was kind of the global idea that I had for the concept. So I worked with Mark Pellington, that I had a lot of respect for. We decided on a kind of third world feel, and we ended up filming it in Guadalajara. And everything was good artistic communication between all of us until the very end, when I got the edit back and got into a situation where what I saw in my head wasn't what I saw on the screen. Right. And it just, it comes down to a bigger problem, which is, in the recording process, I've taken over every aspect of me making my music. I have my own studio. I don't have to answer to anybody. The record label doesn't dare ask me what's going on. I just get the final product, and that's it. And it's non-negotiable. But in the world of video, it still seems, I don't know how to do that yet. I haven't directed my own videos. So I have to embrace another artist's ideals and hope that they see my vision. And on this particular one, it wasn't until the very end when what I thought I was on top of, at the very end I realized his vision wasn't mine. And when we tried to reach a common ground, heads butted, and then it amounted to me editing the video by myself after, and so slightly unpleasant taste in the whole process of that thing, but made me learn it's time to read demand enough for my video camera and just do that too.
But you're satisfied with what came out in the end of it, so no problems with showing it now.
It's the closest I've been to not knowing. I've fought that song in the studio before it ever was going to be a video. And then it was a 2-month battle in the video editing suite, and I watch that now and I'm pissed off at that song. I want to fight it, and it's fought me every inch of the way. So if I wasn't pleased with it, you wouldn't have seen it, because I would never let it go out. But at the same time, I'm slightly questionable to, it's hard, there's open wounds on that field that I have to put in place. So.
I'm gonna poke in those because it's a live show, as you know. It's coming up. 9 Inch Nails, we're in this together. Das tut jetzt richtig weh, dem Trent.